We're just over halfway now, and we're at the Breakfast Club 2 award for most unnecessary sequel. I really enjoyed that one as well, Breakfast Club 2.
Is that a legitimate film?
Thank you.
Yeah, because if that was, I would
come on,
send hateful emails to someone.
Our nominations for are Assassin's Creed 4, Dead Island Riptide was nominated by 3 of us, Gran Turismo 6, and Batman Arkham Origins. So let's start with the most nominated. Chris, tell us why you nominated Dead Island Riptide. Are you sick of the beach and zombies?
So sick of zombies, you have no idea. Every game that seems to come out every fortnight, suddenly there's something new to do with zombies. Granted, some things do it really well. Dead Island was not one of them. So, I mean, I didn't hate Dead Island, the original thing, but it wasn't good. And it was unique, exactly, but then there was just there was literally no reason I can even fathom as to why sequel of Stewdness.
Nat, did you feel the same way?
Yeah, I think Riptide is as close as you can get to somebody just saying, "Yeah, we made this for money." It feels tacked on. It feels unnecessary. There are very, very few changes made to the actual original game. It just feels very, very poorly made by a bad team that don't know how to improve the things that need improving. And then about 2 months later after its release, when at E3, when they announced Dying Light was coming, all of a sudden it made so much more sense. The real team went on to work on the new game. The B team got left behind to pump out more of the same.
Keep the lights on.
Yeah, basically.
I'm voting for Dead Island Riptide purely because of my prejudice and hatred for the first game. I thought it was such a unique setup, and then they completely squandered everything with an increasingly stupid story and just bugs. Which really, that's what I remembered about Dead Island, was just how incredibly unplayable it was. And to top it off, Australians that sounded not like Australians, like they were from
To be fair,
South Africa.
whenever does an Australian sound like an Australian?
Thank you.
Even when we're actual Australians on TV, we don't sound like Australians.
I grant you that, but I mean that was bad. That was bad. That was bad.
So Dead Island should also get the Pacific Rim Award.
I liked that movie.
Me too. I love
that movie.
I love the movie.
How can two people from the same family have different bad Australian accents? One's English, one's American. Like, what is happening?
And the American guy does a better job.
Of course he did a better job. It's Jack.
Anyway, let's move on to our other nominations. I think it was Koshi that actually nominated Assassin's Creed 4.
Yeah, so I nominated this mostly because I'm a big fan of the story. I love Tooth and Revelations and Brotherhood. I also love the first one. The whole story element of the games really brought everything together, and I really liked the whole, you must earn your way into our creed, and you must do what we do, and all that stuff. In Assassin's Creed 3, it didn't exist. But Assassin's Creed 4, Edward's perception of being accepted into the Assassins is basically, lol, I picked up a suit. And it really irks me that they've done all this lead up, Altair cutting off the finger and all that with Ezio, to change it so dramatically to this is just really annoying.
You know, that's been interesting. I actually thought that was one of the things I enjoyed most about the story, was moving away from that stuff. I totally agree with you, especially the Ezio initiation into the Assassins was a wonderful experience. I say wonderful a lot. Was a good experience to play through. But I thought having Kenway not really want to join the Assassins or the Templars and kind of play them against each other for half that game, I thought that was a really unique way to approach that.
Yeah, they eventually change him and make him want to fight for the Assassins. It was just the way they did the initial story really grinded my gears. And then the other side as well, when you're out of the Animus, now you're a faceless person.
You work at Half Brick Studios.
Hooray! Yeah, you work at Half Brick Studios, and you must take over the world. No, I don't know. Has everyone played it?
No, it's still on my pile.
You get this communicator, you take them to the Animus, you can hack computers eventually, and there are so many opportunities where you could totally take a different path, but the game forces you down this linear section, it's just really annoying when Assassin's Creed is meant to be this open world, kind of do everything you want kind of game.
I think my theory with that, Koshi, is, and I think it's somewhat justified when you consider that Ubisoft has sent out a survey asking people, hey, do you want us to just make a pirate game? I think what happened with Assassin's Creed 4 was, the Assassin's Creed 3 was really meant to be the last game for a while. And when they announced sort of Assassin's Creed, when they had this idea for Black Flag, I don't think they were kind of quite ready to just sort of let it go, and I think that's why there is this sort of disconnect between all of them.
It seems like, and with the little hints that are strewn throughout this, it feels like Ubisoft's attention has shifted towards Watch Dogs. And I think Assassin's Creed, if I saw more games in the vein of this one where the story isn't necessarily the important part, I wouldn't be surprised in the future. I'm not to say that would particularly excite me. I think I read a review that said it best when they said that your character in the real world in Assassin's Creed 4 has the story happen around them, not with them. I don't want to play that again. That wasn't fun. And when those, let's say, 10% of the game, the closest you get to gameplay is some kind of middling hacking puzzles and math.
God, I hate that puzzle.
Damn math! That just doesn't interest me.
Just make a pirate game. Just do it. Like, I was talking with a mate, and I was like, why don't you just make a huge pirate game where everyone can have their own ships and even make it multiplayer?
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to happen.
Literally every single Assassin's Creed game, excluding the handheld ones, have been on the one generation.
Yeah.
True.
6 games, 7
So-
years.
Pretty
awesome.
amazing.
Like, you think about the difference between Assassin's Creed 1 and Assassin's Creed 4, it's obviously the graphics have gotten a bit better, but the basics are literally all there. Maybe it's like Assassin's Creed 2 was the biggest leap, and then from there it's kind of plateaued. But when it comes to franchises, like, it has not changed much at all. And I think they just need to give it a break for a bit and then wait and make a development time that's not 12 months or less than that, obviously.
Okay. Well, thank you for that nomination, Tom. We're going to move on to Brendan, who's nominated Gran Turismo 6.
Yes.
Good.
So yeah, Gran Turismo is pretty much a franchise that I've grown up playing, and yeah, the 6th one is just disappointing. Well, not so much more disappointing, but more like pointless. It launched on the PS3 for starters, and when you're launching like the next game to a franchise when new consoles are coming out, that doesn't go well, especially when you have the complete opportunity to compete with Forza 5. And just the whole idea of Gran Turismo 6, like, it's very much the same as number 5, but all they've done is just added Bathurst, stack loads of more cars, and they're trying to make it more user friendly, but instead they just put a whole bunch of pop-ups that pause your gameplay, that try and teach you how to do things where you're really just like, nah, I want to actually play the damn game. I just didn't see too much need for it, to be honest.
I think it relates back to the conversation we had earlier about Forza 5 as well, where Forza went to such lengths to add personality and charm to it. It's what you said very early in this podcast. Gran Turismo just has always felt like, here's some cars, here's some tracks, go make your own fun. They just never seem to crack that way of making it not feel super clinical.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. I think Dead Island Riptide wins this.
I think there's some very wonderful games there that clearly did not need to exist, but I don't think that any more explicitly demonstrate that than Dead Island Riptide. What a
To be completely honest, I didn't even play it. I knew I didn't need to, is how bad I thought it would be.
So basically, yeah, congratulations, Dead Island. You're the most unnecessary sequel for this year. Moving along, we're now on our Developer of the Year award, titled rather eloquently, the I Gordon Dunn Made That Award. Our nominees are Blizzard Entertainment, Valve, and wait for it, The Last of Us voted Naughty Dog.
What? Really?
Let's start with Blizzard.
For me, easy. I have been a Blizzard fanboy since freaking Warcraft. So I've been playing them And I thought they've had a bit of a slow streak recently, and then this year they busted out the expansion for StarCraft 2, which I thought was ridiculously well done. And on top of that, Hearthstone. I don't know anyone else if you guys are interested in those type of card games, but I love them.
I
haven't got a copy of it yet. I want a beta
Oh,
copy.
well, if I've got one, you can have one.
I've been meaning.
Perfect.
But yeah, I love those card games and the animations that, like, I've been playing Magic the Gathering for years, and this was, to me, what Magic is, but on a much grander scale, and the animations were gorgeous, and just, yeah, I loved everything about it. So that's why I thought they did really well.
Okay, great nomination. We'll move on to Darcy, who put Valve forward.
Yeah, I just I play a lot of Dota. A depressing amount. I won't tell you how many Steam hours.
That seems like an understatement.
Yeah, but even with Team Fortress 2 as well, like the comics they come up with and the updates, the free updates they come up with all the time. I don't know if you guys have read the comics for Team Fortress 2. They're just hilarious. Like the amount of story they've managed to flesh out of such a ridiculous game is just great, and I highly recommend them. They're very funny. But when they tweet and say new update, and I check out the page, it's just like it's like Christmas. It's like a Steam sale, sort of like that excitement. It's just like, oh great, let's check out a new comic. Let's check out how I won't play the update, especially if it's Team Fortress 2. Like I haven't touched Team Fortress 2 in months, but I just love checking out that's cool. It's a new map. I won't play it, but that's good. Good on you, Valve.
If there's one thing you can say about Valve, it's that they value their fan base so.
They valve
so
you?
Yeah, except their fanboy base are people for the majority. I am sick of seeing Gaben memes on the internet that I need to punch someone.
You should go watch Video Game Championship Wrestling and watch Gabe Newell wrestle.
What?
Christ, what?
Yeah, it's the best! Oh, I'll link you later
Perfect.
on. It's fantastic.
Let's move on to basically what's going to win the award. Naughty Dog, who wants to sort of vouch for
really?
Naughty Dog? They made this game this year, I heard. I heard it was good.
A little relentless.
No idea.
Brendan,
The
why don't you
last
start us
of
off?
So yeah, it's
No one
yeah,
actually wants
it's a
to
brand
talk
new
about
IP. It's been in the works for quite some time, and they managed to do pretty much everything right. That's pretty much the quickest one.
I think the best way to describe it, the R18 rating comes into Australia, Last of Us comes out, and it shows how mature a game can be with an R18 rating.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was amazing to see what kind of level of quality can come from a game, from a new IP as well. That you go into it knowing nothing, and you leave the game feeling both shocked and amazed.
Yeah, it does elevate video games somewhere, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I just don't know that anybody quick call-outs to the other developers that I thought that could have easily made this list. I thought Irrational did a fantastic job in creating a world for Bioshock Infinite. I thought Firaxis made a fantastic game in Civ Brave New World, but nobody created a fuller product, a fuller feeling world, a greater visual and visceral experience than Naughty Dog this year. I think they deserve all the credit in the world.
And congratulations, Naughty Dog, but you've gone and won that award.
You've gone won
that award.
Well, congratulations, Naughty Dog. You are our Developer of the Year. Our next award category is something that I created. It's based on an observation that 2013 we've seen some pretty shitty online experiences, and some of those are still ongoing. So the Era 37 Award for Best Online Catastrophe nominees are Grand Theft Auto Online, Final Fantasy XIV, and a lot of us actually put forward SimCity. So who wants to start? I'd like to hear Grand Theft Auto Online, so I think that was Darcy that put that forward.
Yeah.
It was you.
That was you.
No, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Wait,
Holy shit, was that me? Really?
Online, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the only one.
We have been
Wow.
recording for too long. Grand Theft Auto Online. Okay, if you're a PS3 owner, you were absolutely stiffed in trying to get online. It was the buggiest console online thing that I've ever sort of experienced, and I suffered through Battlefield 3 at the beginning. It was there wasn't a lot of communication either. It was just a lot of frustration, and when you actually got onto Grand Theft Auto Online, I didn't actually feel like it was kind of worth all of the trouble that I had just trying to connect to it. So it really marred the otherwise great experience that I had with GTA 5, and that's basically why I put that forward.
I'd say that's fair.
Final Fantasy 14, who put that one forward?
Nat.
That was not. This
That
is the
was
one that I
me.
wrote the
You
song
were-
about.
You want to talk? You want to talk about poor console
My bad.
experiences for a game this
My
year?
bad.
My friend, you have not played anything until you played Final
Regale
Fantasy
me.
14. Okay, so let me run you through the story of my time with Final Fantasy 14.
Have we got an
I was
hour and a
contacted and asked.
half?
Oh my god. No, I was contacted and asked if I wanted to do a review of the game, so I said yes. So I downloaded the game, it was 6.5 gig. Then I went to play it, and it didn't work. Then I went to play it again, and it said, something's wrong, we need to re-download this. So it re-downloaded 6.5 gig. So then it tried to patch itself, downloaded a 1.5 gig patch, and then it decided that the patch wasn't good enough, so it needed a new version of the patch. And then when I tried to log on, the servers were dead. And then I couldn't create an account. And then the Square Enix account thing on the website was completely broken as well. It was about as miserable as I've ever been reviewing a game it was just... I ended up watching Big Brother because it was the only thing I could do with my time that was less soul-crushing. It was miserable, miserable, miserable. And then you got into it, and just like GTA Online, it was just kind of a middling experience on the console.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. I mean, there were a lot of issues on PC as well.
Most of those were in the beta for the PC. There were still a shitload of issues at launch. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of the troubling ones seem to have been ironed out by launch at least.
Yeah, so there was a lot of, let's get the early access, let's do that. Oh, why doesn't it work? Well, it's because the game hasn't released yet, and they're doing stress tests on the servers.
Exactly.
And it was great to see that they did iron out most of the bugs fairly quickly, and it was a half enjoyable game. I don't play it anymore because I got bored of it, but it was a good concept in my opinion. It was just riddled with so many bugs and destructive features.
Oh my
it
god.
just ruined a lot of people's experiences right from the get-go.
And thus why I wrote a song about it.
Yeah.
Which we shall all watch later.
Yeah. Well, I haven't recorded it, I just have the words.
Okay.
Now probably on to what's going to be the winner of this category.
I don't know if I think Eddie's disappeared again. So what we'll just go to is SimCity. So SimCity was, in my opinion, the worst online catastrophe, mostly because you couldn't actually play the game for a long period of time. So even after the game came out, you couldn't even connect to the servers. And what really kicked you in the nuts is it's a single-player game for the most part.
Yeah.
Not...
Well, sort of.
Yes, it's a single-player game. Hosting towns on the servers to lessen the restrictions on PC, I think, requirements was the reason why they had to put it on the servers and make everything online. Within a week, the community had modded it and hacked it so that they didn't have to play online and they could actually build outside of their restrictions, which was great. But it basically nulled everything that the SimCity developers to do, or they were saying, oh, you need to do this, we're going to need to do that as well. It's like, in a week, we have people who are better designers than you wrecking your game.
Right.
I think even was it the original SimCity creator? Was it Will Wright? Was that who it was? Yeah, he voiced his disappointment at it and just said, "This is pretty much not what I originally wanted to see." When I first started SimCity, and that, like, now that he's no longer part of Maxis.
Most people had a miserable experience, and it was like what you're saying. It was exacerbated by the fact that so much of that game required that online connectivity that as soon as that wasn't there, it just broke automatically. Like, you could share things with other resources from other players in your region, but because the online servers were so buggered, if you tried to play that in the first, let's say, 2 months of its release, you couldn't ever count on that working, which means your city was impacted. You just couldn't play that the way that they wanted it to. And let's forget, just absolute debacle they made of appealing to the public, of all the press releases. Like, they had to send out the free games to make up for the terrible launch and stuff like that. Like, credit where credit's due. It seems to be all ironed out now. It's just a pity that not only did it sour most people on the game, it kind of revealed the fact that the game underneath just wasn't the one you
and
really
I love
wanted.
SimCity. I've been playing SimCity for years,
Yep.
Yeah, same here.
and it made me sad. Like, I don't play it anymore, and I really was quite enjoying the game, but not enough to go back after all that crap.
There's design decisions all through that stuff that were kind of questionable to begin with, and were marred by a terrible, terrible launch, in which can only be described as the best online.
Yeah.
catastrophe
So
of the year.
SimCity takes the cake for that one. Congrats, Maxis, and to I think a more extent EA, who was kind of pushing them
That's
a lot
who I'd
of
be
the
blaming.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, SimCity. SimCity, truly awful online experience.